Everybody, welcome back to Brown and Browner. It's been a couple weeks. I'm sorry. It's been holidays and all sorts of busyness, but we're back. And guess what? We left off when the NBA finals had teed off. And then after that, there was honestly a break in sports for a little bit. There was the US Open and things like that. And we talked about that. But now we're getting to this month called July, and there's a smattering of sports here and there, but we'd like to talk about a little bit of everything that's not basketball at this point, or not.
Yes. Yes. And quite frankly, let's just be real.
Yeah.
The meat and potatoes of in my opinion, of sporting entertainment happens with football.
Yes.
It happens with basketball. It happens with hockey.
Yes. Playoffs. Yep.
And then I'm putting tennis above baseball, because baseball has 162 games. They're halfway through the season right now, about to start the All-Star game. A quarter of the teams are already out.
Yep.
But it's just not interesting because there's too many games, and it's just that at this point there isn't anything to talk about really as far as playoffs and where teams are going.
Think about
the accolades.
Like you said, tennis has its 4 Grand Slams, and that's what people come up and show out. And honestly, look at the star power showing up at Wimbledon to watch. It's nuts. You got A-list actors, actresses from around the globe. You got sporting figures. You got people taking breaks out of their time. Trinity Rodman sitting there supporting her boyfriend Ben Shelton the whole time. It's great.
There you go.
Atmosphere.
I love that. Hey, one other sport that happened, and we'll just touch on it briefly, is NASCAR.
Yes.
Auto racing. Some people watch Formula One. There have been some interesting changes in Formula One. Verstappen hasn't been dominating like he was. Hamilton sort of handed over to him. And now we've got other guys like Norrie and a few others in Formula One. But NASCAR actually had an event in Chicago this past weekend. Yep. It was part of a 3-year contract that they had with Chicago, where they literally took the downtown streets of Chicago, made it into a racing format. And they've held these races, this being the third one, the last 3 years. Funny, note about that is every freaking year, this year has been the best, but it rained like the Friday leading into the weekend for the races. And I think because of that, and there's a guy, I forget his name, Geschberger or something like that, who won this year, won last year. I don't know if he wins any other races, but he's won those 2. But what they've said is they are now looking to move it to San Diego, or another location, because of the inability to either move the date, which is hard from the NASCAR scheduling standpoint, or rely on the weather.
Yeah.
And it's always sunny in California.
True. And then all you're doing is alienating your fan base again by moving things away from areas. You're talking about urban Chicago. This is a market that honestly doesn't get tapped into much when it comes to NASCAR. I hate to say it, but NASCAR belongs to the Deep South. Always has, always will.
Always has, yeah.
It belongs to the West a little bit in Kansas City and places like that, and Dallas and all these other places, and obviously the Southeast. But it's cool to have it in, Chicago, in the middle of the city. It's one of those things that happens. In summertime Chicago, arguably one of the best places on earth. There is no question. There is obviously a busy time of year in Chicago where we have festival after festival after thing all summer long. Does not matter. You can pick a weekend. You'll find something to do. Doesn't matter. We got.
Very true.
If I'm not mistaken, you might have Taste of Chicago probably this week and next week, if I'm not mistaken. So you got everything. So why would you, as NASCAR, try to take it away from one of the most popular places in the summer? I understand San Diego. I understand the allure of it. It's great. Easy access, easy weather. I get all that. But there's a charm and a challenge to a sport when you have weather conditions and things of that nature that makes it more challenging. And obviously people are going to enjoy that. You had heat the first 2 days of Wimbledon. You had 90-degree temperatures. They set a record, in fact, in London. Think about it. In London, you swelter when it's 90. People have to learn what the challenges of any and all sport and challenge. And yes, NASCAR is a sport by definition. And you know what? They need to keep it in Chicago as far as I'm concerned.
I wish they would. There are some downfalls where they block off everything downtown and you're rerouted all over the place. But I tell you that Midwesterners do like their auto racing.
Absolutely.
And, besides, the South, which has that, history behind NASCAR and everything, Richard Petty, Carol Yarborough, the Unser brothers, all sorts of Dick Trickle, one of my favorite things.
Dick Trickle's the greatest name on earth.
Yeah, great Dave. User of the golf course. Ooh, is Dick Trickling. Anyway, it's bad that they're moving it out to the West Coast. That's not traditionally a NASCAR thing.
I'm
People
sorry,
are
but
there have too many other things they're looking at. They're not looking at NASCAR. It's not a focus, and maybe they will, catch on, and it will be something that they could grow in that area. But boy, we used to have the Chicago Speedway down here, and people in Indiana and Southern Illinois love their auto racing, and they come all the way up to Chicago to see the races here.
Yep.
So for them to remove that, I think is doing a disservice to the fans here in the Midwest, but also to NASCAR as a whole, because they could continue to grow that fan base here in the Midwest, which it definitely more aligns with that than the Western states do.
Well, no disrespect to the South, but I'm sorry, but we tailgate better and harder than anyone in the Midwest. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter what the sport is, the activity. We tailgate, we know how to get ready for games, whether it's college football, NFL, anything. We tailgate better. We barbecue better. So you know what? For NASCAR, that is the culture. There is a tailgate culture to it. There is a race element to it.
I'm going to do one thing about the barbecue. We might grill better. Grilling meaning burgers and brats and stuff. Barbecue, you can't say that the Midwest is better at barbecue than the South. Sans maybe Kansas City, places in Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? But as a whole, you going down in Bama and Mississippi, you got some barbecue and down there.
Smoke pit after smoke pit set
up.
They
got the big long things they've made. My uncle had one he made from scratch. It was like 2 garbage can barrels and some welding and some things, but you could feed like 100 people off this grill.
Now, see, no good barbecue is good without a good weld. So you're absolutely dead right.
So I'm gonna give it to them there, but the hope is maybe they find a way to keep it in Chicago. We shall see. But let's get on to, you talked about Wemby and you talked about some of the star power there. I know there are other things going on in sports. The baseball has their all-star game coming up, and there's some home run hitters that people want to see. I think it's a little lackluster. I think the whole spectacle around baseball is that old tradition and calculations and people who are stats guys. I used to be one of them as a kid, had my own notebook of stats and had my own baseball game that I played. I don't think people are into baseball like that anymore. And the people who are dying off. Let's just keep it real. They're getting older. They're just not part of that conversation as they once were. They're the guys who are keeping Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame kind of people.
Exactly. It's no longer America's pastime as they like to define it. I'm sorry to say. The America's pastime is football. It is the truth.
Hello. By a wide margin. That's not even like a conversation. Like, it's by a wide margin. And I'll dare say that baseball has fallen to maybe 4 on the sporting landscape because hockey's picked up and basketball is basketball. And again, basketball is something that people around in this nation definitely follow. So I just feel like baseball has sort of lost it. Yeah. You look at some of the stands, look at some of the games, in White Sox, you know what I'm talking about, where you're lucky to get 1,000 people in the stadium sometimes.
You're handing out free tickets by the time August rolls around in many of these markets. And it's one of the biggest markets in the country. It's what's frightening. So, I mean, honestly, I don't see why, people are still in the business of baseball when they're owners. I mean, especially just look at ownership value of a team in baseball versus the worst team in football. I'm sorry, there is a gap,
Well, so think about that from a numbers standpoint. Baseball was the pastime, and they always made their money. They packed the stands. You got 30,000 plus in your stadium. I don't care if you're a first place team or a last place team. Hello, Cubs for a long time. And between the concessions, the prices, they made a lot of money. But I think you're right as far as the overall attendance and everything else, and just the attraction and lure of baseball isn't quite there. But they're still making enough money to pay guys $200 million.
That's scary. I mean,
think about how much money they were making before, say, Kurt Flood said, I want to be a free agent, and and I'm going to take you to court because you're, taking away my right to be able to market myself.
Yep.
So they're still making money. So imagine how much money they're really making. Probably not as much as football and basketball and maybe even hockey at this point. But they're making money.
Simple math. The smallest stadiums are 30,000 people, right, around the country. You're packing those at least 4 days a night at your home stadium. Think about that.
4 days a week.
It's 4 days a week. So that's a revenue generating machine, to say the least. So they honestly need to lower prices so they can get more people to come to games to spend the money on the unfortunate concessions that are astronomically
not going to happen.
And it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. And I was just at a Cubs game a couple of weeks ago, and I tell you what, just buying something to eat and a
Oh,
drink. You're basically, for 3 people, you're spending over $100 easy,
easily.
because the hot dog is like $15, $10 to $15. A drink is $10 to $15. Any kind of, side, if you want nachos or fries or something, $10. So you're spending $30 a person just to get a halfway decent meal while you're there.
Even for in my situation, I buy parent tickets as for the kids club and stuff like that. My concession costs are 5 times the cost of my tickets for a group of 4. Think about it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So, I get you get to pay workers and everybody else. I'm all for that. But there is a imbalance in how practical it is to go to a game unless it's meaningful, because you're going to kill 3 hours. That's the other piece to it, travel and everything else. Baseball is not exactly the shortest sport in the world.
It can be long. They've shortened it a lot, but it's still a long day.
I had my dad visiting here, and he's an ardent cricket fan. He was watching a test match. It went 4 days. I'm sitting there like, dude, I can't watch this shit anymore.
And that's why cricket hasn't caught on in America, because America is the kind of place where people want their gratification. They want to click, they want a package, they want this, and they want to get out.
You don't
cricket,
want to.
You got to. It's like playing Risk. Do you remember playing? What's that?
They breaks for tea.
They break for tea. It's like, plus, think about it. Remember when you were in college or high school, you play Risk, and it would last multiple days. And after like the first day, you sort of were bored of it, unless you're the person in the lead about to win. That's how cricket is. You like sit there and it's like, okay, it was great the first day, but God, dog, how many runs?
My dad started a game on Friday. It was England versus India, obviously significant in that world or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, test match. It's a 4-day test match. It starts at 6 a.m. our time. Or sorry. Let me rephrase that. Starts at 3 a.m. our time and goes till 2 p.m.
Right, because of the 7-hour difference.
Dad said they're streaming this damn thing on Friday, not Friday morning through all day, Saturday morning all day, Sunday morning all day, Monday. And I'm sitting there like, oh, they're still down by 300 runs, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point. They're still down. And they still have a chance. Come on, man. Let's stop it right here. All right. Turn the channel.
My dad's like, oh, the spinners are up. I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, I have to say, the people who took the sport of cricket, and let's be real, at least in my perception of this, and made it into baseball.
Yes. Right.
I think we're clever and understood that one time dynamic, and were able to take the concept and truncate it and make it so that people could watch it, and it was a one-day event.
Yeah. I mean, think back to the 20s and 30s in the heyday of baseball when it first started in the United States. That was the concept. People came to games, they paid 50 cents or whatever it was. You sat in your seat for 2 to 3 hours. You get to enjoy a game, get away from life. Great. That's been abandoned in this day and age. We got too many other distractions going on. It doesn't exist that way. It's not a fanfare. It's not an event. It's not a way to bring families together and all that. Baseball is just one of those things like you go for the playoffs. If you're you, me, and whoever that has some fandom. But beyond that, maybe you'll go to the occasional game, but it's a chore.
Once in a while, I take my son out. We still do that. Yeah. But it's not what it was. And you made a good point. Baseball was America's game when America didn't have many games to contest it. But now that America has a lot more to offer from an sporting entertainment standpoint, baseball has fallen drastically. In my mind, if I know some diehard baseball fans, they're still into it, and I get that.
I think baseball needs to take away the 162 game season. They need to do something like what the NBA is trying to do with these little mini tournaments and stuff in season. I think that would go a long way, especially if you do like a global edition like they did with World Baseball Classic. Was it last year, I believe? Honestly, I watched that. Like the World Baseball Classic was cool because you had all the biggest stars from each country, and it was kind of cool to see the nationalistic pride and all that.
Yeah, it's a baseball World Cup.
Exactly. So honestly, if they did that, like let's say mid-season or did like an in-season tournament with an elimination round or whatever, people would be more engaged to watch 162 games, let's say, throughout a summer or whatever. Let's say you took April and May, played the regular season. June, let's say you played a tournament of some kind for seeding or whatever. Let's say July comes across, you have your all-star game. Let's say in August you did a little World Cup kind of rendition, whatever, and then you lead into the playoffs. Like that would make it pure entertainment for me in terms of like value and everything for baseball. But just my idea.
I think that's a decent idea. I will give a different perspective on it. I feel like, the in-tournament stuff, it's still sort of catching on with NBA and such. But I feel like let's just be real. Baseball is from April to the World Series is in October.
Yes.
All right. But you have 6 months of regular season and then you're hitting the October. Well, depending on the team and where they're located, April and May can be a wash. Those are wash months.
True.
Because I've been to a Cubs game in April. It was fucking freezing. My son and I left for like the 6th inning. It was freaking freezing. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wearing my winter coat and I can see my breath. That's not entertainment to me.
Yep.
They should get rid of April and May.
Yep.
Make it June, July, August, September. That's 4 months. So they've gotten rid of a third of the regular season. And maybe they even get rid of the latter part of September, and that becomes the World Series month. So no matter which club
that way, you mean you're not
the World Series, you're not sitting there freezing your butt off. If Minnesota or any northern team makes the World Series, half of the games are in 40-degree weather.
Think about how many times we've had flurries in like Game 6 of the World Series. Like,
yeah, yeah, but that's not baseball, right? Like George Carlin used to put it, and he did a great skit on the difference between football and baseball. He's so right. Baseball, yay, we have a day off because it rained. It's a rain delay. You know, that's what baseball is. All of the other sports, even soccer, you play through rain. You play through snow.
Yes, you play in the mud. Absolutely.
Right. So why are we trying to allow those conditions to influence games? Truncate the season so it really is the summer where most teams, most places you are, it's going to be warm enough to play the game. Whether it rains or not, that's a whole different story. But at least you could play more games, and it's much more satisfying from an audience perspective, because I'm watching you play. I'm not watching a rain delay where you're showing a game from fucking 20 years ago on TV. Yeah. And if I'm there, I'm not freezing my scones off because I'm sitting there, you know, teeth chattering, and I'm wondering, why am I here drinking a cold beer when it's 40 degrees?
By the way, quick tangent that you touched on it. During the midst of these last 2, 3, 4 weeks, we've had the Gold Cup for soccer and the Club World Cup. Have we talked about it at all in this country? No, because guess what? Soccer doesn't exist in this country as far as I'm concerned, especially when your national team and your national players don't have the pride to play in an elimination game in a final against Mexico, mind you, which is a rivalry game in the CONCACAF and globally. And guess what? Your players don't show up. Mexico shoots out and wins it, of course, because we already knew that was coming. And now you're hosting a World Cup next year. You're going to get a ton of global, hopefully, well, I'm going to say that politically. Hopefully a lot of people come and visit the country.
We shall see.
We shall see. There may be some other issues going on. But we have no national pride in that sport whatsoever. And supposedly it is it is the biggest global sport in the world because everybody can play it so easily and affordably. However, in this country, not only do we make it unaffordable for youth sports, but we also make it so that it's not even popular, which is just ridiculous around here.
Yeah, and the MSL and all of the other, satellite kind of
satellite, that's a good word,
teams are not really making it, and they don't promote it in the right way. And yes, you have a European star. Most of the European stars that are washed up in Europe come over here, and they're still better than everybody that's on the court. Look at Messi, look at Beckham, look at all of the players that came over here, made big bank, and they were trying to, bring up the sport, but it just hasn't caught on because they don't put the money and time into it.
Think about how desperate we are. We have to buy old, retired players for top dollar, more than they probably even made in some of their careers playing at the most elite levels of soccer, just to get popularity going in this country. That's sad. That to me, that ranks on the bottom rung, even maybe below baseball to some degree on the charts at this point.
Yeah, that's just something.
The viewership, if you watch the stadiums and how lack of attendance there was at one point, I forgot what location it was for the Club World Cup. Tickets were $5.
Wow.
Think about that.
That shows you that you have no interest in it because you can't make money off it. Now you're just trying to get people in so that you can say, you could do the Trump. Hey, you know what? Those 5 people were really 5,000 people.
Yeah, and let's say you host that Club World Cup in Europe, you're going to get 30,000, 80,000 people every game. No question.
No matter where it's held.
No question asked.
Yeah.
So they will never have it again in this country. It's not worth the time and effort, I hate to say, for them.
Yeah, you touched on something while you were talking about soccer. You were talking about the not patriotism, but the following behind the sport. And there was something that I wanted to note about that, and I note about the 4th of July this year. they didn't even have like a special fireworks for the 4th of
Oh,
July here in Chicago and then in other places too. I feel like the patriotism is not what it used to be. And I think it's a direct correlation of what's been happening with the government as of late.
I was fortunate enough to have gone. I went to the Naval Academy down in Annapolis for the fireworks show this year, and obviously, military's, whole 9 yards,
gonna be all behind it. Yeah,
presence, everything else. Lots of old vets and everything. So it was a great showing there. I look at Baltimore. I look at DC. Nobody. I mean, you could see empty crowds in whatever videos they were showing of all the places. The sense of national pride behind the holiday completely lost. They tried to make it all hyped up in the media, from what I could see and heard over the weekend. But I'm sorry. It just wasn't there. It wasn't there.
You can fake it all you want, but it's not there, and the people are feeling less prideful.
I mean, think about it. I think at one point in our history, I think you had several people attend fireworks shows and everything, obviously for their fun and everything else, and it was a tradition and nostalgia to it. But more so, it was for folks that immigrated this country, got their citizenship. It was a sense of pride.
And there was a sense of pride. They owned the idea of being American because they worked to be American. But now they're not looked at as Americans, and their lives are threatened every day because they're afraid that there's going to be a knock on their door and they're going to be taken away. Even if they have a card, it doesn't even matter anymore because of what's being done in the government and the laws that are being passed and the the perspective that they have, not remembering one key element in the history of America and what America was built on. What was America built on? Ellis Island. What are all of those people who came to Ellis Island and what did they bring to America? And what was America supposed to be? A melting pot. It brought all of these other cultures and civilizations together here in America and built something greater because they were allowed to mix and mingle and have all of these different cultures influence the growth of America.
Exactly.
Now we're doing just the opposite. Now, and I know there's some pros and cons to the migrant conversation. But I think we're taking such an acute but the stance that we're taking is so finite in perspective. Like you are, it's taking the nationalism that they've had in Europe and it's like putting it on steroids here in America. But America was built on cheaper labor with people of color. And when I say cheaper labor, let's go back to slavery. That was the cheapest labor. but I'm just saying the migrants are the ones who brought their culture here and brought their food and allowed you to make $1 from a corporate perspective because you were able to have people work in restaurants and in fields and do things, but now we're saying we don't want that.
Yeah. So I mean, think about this during 4th of July festivals and even festivals in general. You had little cart owners with snow cone stands, lemonade, take your
bomb pops and street corn, street tacos.
Anywhere. So much. I mean, and again, we prided ourselves on giving everyone opportunity for business and growth and everything. Well, guess what? Now you've taken it all away, and now it's hurting. Exactly.
Well, let's say that you're whatever culture you are and you wanted to be that guy who set up the stand or had the food truck. You almost are afraid to be out there because you're going to get challenged. And the way it works nowadays is you're guilty before proven innocent. So they could take you and put you somewhere and you could be there for months, if you're innocent, even if everything you've done is right and you haven't had a record, they can still do that, take away your rights. So I'm not going to risk that to make a buck. I'm going to stand at home and not be seen, so no one can call and say, hey, you know what, I see this guy on the corner, he might be an immigrant, he definitely he's not let me say it the right way, he's not truly American. Not American. American.
And remember, we're not condoning Karens on this show. We don't like Karens. People named Karen, exception. We get that.
Hey, you know what? Before we get too far out on it, and I hope that we regain that whole idea of what America truly is versus this concept of making America great by getting rid of all of the things that made America great. Let's talk about some English flavor. Let's talk about
Yes. No, honestly, it's been great to watch. Oh, cutting up. Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You're a little frozen, but
yeah, we're going glitchy. I was gonna say we got Wimbledon going on. Honestly, it started off with a bang because the first 2 rounds had so many upsets, which was great. I thought that was great tennis. I mean, that's just me. I like seeing the upsets, even though some of your favorite players or whatever it is. But the upsets were great to see. You're seeing obviously the cream rise to the crop. Very disappointed yesterday in not the person, but just what happened with the Sinner and Dimitrov match. I love Dimitrov. I've loved him for a long time. I think he's had A1 potential, but his body just couldn't keep it going against Mr. Sinner.
Okay, I got something to say about that because that was the one thing I wanted to focus on.
Yep.
I like Dimitrov too. I like to see the middle of the pack kind of players be able to compete and win, as opposed to it always being like when they had the big three and they had Serena and Venus, and that's great too to some degree. But I like to see it mixed up a little bit. But I got a stat on Dimitrov that I saw yesterday. This is the 10th time that he's withdrawn.
Like I said, his body. I called it at the beginning of the match with my dad. I was sitting here watching. I'm like, I'll tell you what, he's gonna take it to Sinner, but his body will fail him. And I said it from day one, from game one, and sure enough.
Well, my question then is, what is he or what isn't he doing? Because you got some people like Djokovic out there playing top-notch tennis at an older age.
Well, and it's interesting to see Dimitrov's rise. I forgot where he came up out of his coaching ranks. So he's Bulgarian. I think he went to Bolletary Academy, similar like a Agassi type profile when he was a kid. This kid was highly touted coming out, like 18 years old. He was the next firecracker coming out of Europe at one point in time, especially at the time of Federer and Djokovic and everything else. However, at that time, I think between his body kind of letting him down, which again, don't know what's going on there in terms of workout and everything else. And then he also got kind of involved socially. He was with Maria Sharapova for some time. Credit, give it to him.
Hey, I'm not mad at you for that.
But it's just sad to see such talent fall apart because his body just couldn't keep up with his abilities. Like his skill level is unparalleled. It was solid. I mean, you could see it in the Sinner match too.
Okay, so now I question this because I thought he was going to beat Sinner, and then all of a sudden he went down and was like, I'm just going to tell you, and not that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I try to just look at things in a certain way. And then I heard the stat about the 10 times, and it's like, here you are beating the #1 seed. Did you get that phone call that said, hey, look,
you're
in this match? Well, and then you're winning the match, and you're like, oh, well, shit, I need to figure out a way not to win this match.
Well, and in fairness, there is a lot of match fixing that goes on in tennis. It's been globally known and documented. It happens usually at the lower levels, at the challenger levels and stuff like that. But you don't leave it out of question. But yeah, I mean, this guy's just had an unfortunate history with it, I think, and that's what's sad. Like he's been on top of some of the best guys, Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, and then he crumbles. And you're just like, all right, what the hell's going on here?
Well, and I would think, just as being a premier athlete. When you're at that level and you start seeing things break down, wouldn't you hire a sports therapist that would help you work on specifics on your body so that you can perform at your top level consistently without the breakdowns of the body?
When Djokovic, I think, was 19 and 20 when he first started, he was struggling to keep up with the Nadals and the Federers of the world at that time because his body wasn't up to par. So what did he do? He got a nutritionist, sports coach, everything else. He cut out gluten 100% out of his diet. That was the big thing that I remember reading about him back in the day. And I was like, oh, this helped him last. This guy could play 7 sets. I mean, you can see how fit he is even at 38 now.
Yeah.
And the man is built like a machine when it comes to endurance, which is impressive to watch because that's where, Nadal's knees, I mean, God forbid, that's a whole different issue. Federer just got old with age and he had a graceful game. It's a different kind of brand. But a lot of these guys play a little physical ball. Sinner, look at him. I mean, the guy's he hits the crap out of the ball. Alcaraz hits the crap out of the ball. Does it remind me exactly, or does Alcaraz's physical play remind me of Nadal? Absolutely. I think he can fall apart by the time he's 30, because of the way and the intensity he plays with. Sinner, same thing. These guys punish the ball so well and so cleanly that it's hard to keep that endurance going. Djokovic, he's the anomaly because he's got the nutrition. He's got everything else going for him. He's taking the Tom Brady plan or whatever you want to call it.
I was just about to say, but the great athletes have done that. Tom Brady even marketed what he did. Michael Jordan, he was getting beat up on the court. Teams were physical with him. What did he do? He put some bulk on. He muscled up, and then he was able to give it back to him and able to endure the physicality that they were, putting upon him. So you make the change if you want to be the best at what you're doing at your craft. You make the sacrifices and you focus on the things because everybody can be better in some way. So they focus on that. I don't feel like Dimitrov is doing that. That's just me.
I think you're right. I think that's what separates the greats from the goods, basically. It's always happened historically. I mean, Agassi, Sampras, same thing. Courier had the physical stamina back in the day. Like, same thing. Like, these guys had their professionals behind the scenes helping them. And that's what really makes the elites of their sport. Andy Murray, we claim a big four. I've never really considered him a four, but okay, fine.
No.
People call him a four because I've always thought Wawrinka was really the four because he's the one that actually beat the guys. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, Murray never beat the big three. So how is he four?
Yeah. Stanislaus Wawrinka actually beat the four. So he actually was that dumb.
Yeah.
But Murray fell apart physically, another thing. So, like I said, it takes an elite level. Look at Sabalenka. I've got her up on the screen right now. She's killing it right now too. Her problem is a little up here once in a while when she plays the big dog.
Hey, you know what? You're still frozen, so I can't see any of the adjusters that you have.
All right, can you hear me?
I will hear you, but cannot. Your picture has been frozen for a little bit now. Weird. But you're right about Sabalenka. She is. Yeah. But you're right about the difference. She's a physical specimen. She's 6 foot tall. She can punch the ball. But between the ears, she is a mental midget at times.
Can be in the most crucial matches, unfortunately. Like she shows up for all the first round, fourth round, fifth round. Like she just overwhelms people. But when she has to play the Goffs and all that, that's when it kind of takes a little toll on her in a close match. I think that's what makes it kind of interesting. To me, like if it were me coaching her opponent, I would ask to punch first. You want to try to get on top of this girl from game one, basically, to get in her head, and that's how you overcome her.
Well, and it's funny because she just double faulted. She just lost the first set to this German, and this German is a mix-it-up kind of player. She's been doing drop shots and just she beat Madison Keys pretty handily and had her stifled. And I think for me, you're right about hit him first. Just like Mike Tyson, you needed somebody to hit him in the mouth first. Then all of a sudden, I haven't been in this situation before. I also feel like the more you play players like Sabalenka, she's self-destructive. So if you can keep returning the ball, just she'll make the mistake because she'll get so mad at herself that she'll just keep piling them on. And that's what she was trying to say, plus the weather and the conditions when she lost to Goff at the French Open.
Well, if you truly are a fan of tennis and watch Djokovic's game, his job isn't to crush you with physical play. His job is to get back every single freaking ball and beat yourself.
And that's where Alcaraz and Nadal excelled because they can run down everything. And then it starts to get frustrating to you because no matter what you're doing, you know who else used to be good at that? Monfils. Monfils could do that.
Yes. Monfils is, I love watching that guy. He's like a gazelle on the court.
You know what? You know why I like him? Probably more than many of the tennis players that I've seen historically. He actually looks like he's having fun.
That's the key.
He plays like that. He does trick shots during a match. When you might say, why is he doing that? Because he plays with fun. He's the guy that's sitting out in the park that you're playing with for an hour after you racked up, and you actually enjoyed the match, the set that you played because it was fun. He plays with that. I wish he wasn't 100 years old because I'd love to see him play for another 10 years.
That dude doing tweeners and 360 overheads and like
all of it. And he's smiling and he's clapping and congratulating the guy when it's a good shot. And that's the player. And to me, that's the kind of player I want to see in every sport. Show the joy of the sport, not the business side of the sport, because that's what it is at the end of the day. We were all kids playing this, and we had brought us joy to play these things.
I mean, not to be a self-founding Chiefs fan, but that's what I enjoy watching out of like Mahomes and Kelsey. When they make a big play, they put up that smile, and you're like, all right, there's a little pride there, Even Tom Brady shows a grin, once in a while. He's like, I did that.
Well, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. That's what makes it to me worth watching. When I see somebody with a little personality and look like they're having fun. You know what? What made Bryce DeChambeau more attractive to the public? Even though he went to live, he rebuilt his image because he went from the scientific nerd to the guy who was actually slapping hands with people and making funny faces and that kind of stuff. That's what you want. Tiger Woods was great, but one thing he wasn't, he was a robot. He didn't want to talk to nobody. He didn't want to smile. He wasn't clapping no hands. And then when he started doing that, he didn't play well because that's not his ground. That's not how he works.
He was unfortunately Mr. No Fun at times. That's the problem. I agree.
Yep. but his golf was so excellent that you sort of looked past that.
That's what I kind of call like the difference between, let's say, a Peyton Manning and a Tom Brady. Peyton Manning was very calculated. Like the guy's work ethic was obviously well known. Him and Marvin Harrison threw out like 100 balls every game. Like, it was ridiculous. But there was precision and craft to what they did. Obviously, they enjoyed it, but it was a precision and craft of the game. Tom Brady, same thing, very methodical. You look at the Mahomes and the Josh Allens of the world, let's improvise. Let's have some fun out here, that kind of thing. So there's a pride to it. There's a piece to it.
I think you got to have that to be truly engaged in any sport. You can be intense and all of that, and that's one thing. You can have the talent and be an intense person, but there are some people that may not have all of the talent, but they have the joy. And when they play with that joy, who plays with that joy, in my opinion? Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
When he plays, you watch him, he's laughing and giggling. That's because he plays with that joy. And then it's sort of just a spontaneous reaction to the moment because he's just in the moment and he's joyful. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump over a guy's head. I'm going to juke you out your socks. I like that kind of athlete. I like to see the joy. I loved it when I saw Jordan and Kobe smile or stick out their tongue or do something like this, because even they were surprised by their talent and their ability.
And see, that's the thing. When you become a professional, you're amongst the elite of the 1% of the sport you play. So you have the physical gift. It's how you use that physical gift from the mental and the fun part of it that really makes you that next level player. And it's the fun of it, I think, that makes the players better at the end of the day.
I think it's a mixture. It's fun, but you have to have a passion for it. Some people have all of the talent, but they don't have the passion behind it. So they don't work hard to be good at it. They just are good at it. And they won't ever excel or achieve that next level because they don't have that passion. The real athletes put in the time and dedication, but there's a joy behind that too. When you're working out and when you're doing this and you start to see the changes and start feeling like, hey, I'm achieving that goal that I set for myself. And there's some joy in that. I don't feel like some people have that kind of desire, passion to reach that point in their careers to try to get the most out of their ability. Some people are just in it for the dollar.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. But I think in this Wimbledon, that's what's been kind of interesting to see, because like I said, there's been a good amount of upsets in the early rounds. You've got some of the cream of the crop rising now. In the top. I think the marquee matchup, I believe, is tomorrow. I believe that's Sinner and Shelton. I would love to see Ben Shelton finally put it together. I don't know if he will, but he's serving well, and he's finally listening to his dad. I respect his dad because the way he played and also like what he coaches, or what he used to teach or what he used to coach at University of Florida. He was a serving volley guy. So he's trying to get Ben to do that more. And obviously with that kind of serve, why aren't you doing it? Because
he's got a powerful serve, and he's got the talent and agility too.
Well, here's the thing. And this is what kills me about tennis over the last, let's call it 20 years. I mean, the transition happened with Federer and Nadal. And before then, you used to see more pure serve and volley play at Wimbledon than what you see now. And I get that there's guys that are obviously excellent at the ground game, which obviously Nadal and Federer always were, Djokovic, the kings of the crop. But if you want to truly take a player out of his routine element, which is the Sinner and Alcaraz is what I'm talking about, you serve and volley on them to shorten up the court, shorten up the speed and the time they get to the ball. And if you play that, like I would love to see Goran Ivanisevic play these guys. I would love it. Even better. I'll give you a better one.
Dude.
Well, I'll give you a better one. I would love to see Patrick Rafter take on these current guys. I bet you he'd beat him. That dude was a dog at the serve and volley. Like there was reckless abandon when that man took serve and volley. It was great.
Well, and honestly, I think I like watching the serve and volley because I love to see people with the passing shots, whether it's cross court or up the line or the occasional lob over your head. I think that's an exciting part of tennis, at least for me. The other part is if you're a really good serve and volleyer, you're dominating the point. Like you said, if you can really serve, they're on the defensive already. If you're charging the net right behind it, you're going to get a pretty good lollipop to be able to put away. And you can rack up points and, be able to, consolidate breaks because you got a break and now you're able to get a 40 love game going. And I feel like for these elite players, the Djokovic, the Sinner, the Alcaraz, they can go 5 sets and still play at the top of their game at the 5th set.
Exactly.
A lot of these other guys can't do that. So why are you trying to go 5 sets by sitting at the baseline like you're sitting out with a practice session, hitting the ball 50 times a rally? Get it over with. 1, 2, 3, boom. There's a point.
I mean, not to make it self-satisfying, but my doubles partner and we like to think we were some of the best players in the South at one point and coming out of high school. And we just played for fun. We didn't even play, we played tournaments just to show up and we'd win the damn thing, which was great. But here's the thing. We played a team, it was our final year. I think we were both 18. We were playing up in a men's open tournament down in Nashville. We played these two guys that played private school their whole lives. They're going to Vanderbilt full ride, the whole 9 yards. They walked in, they were going to kick our ass, right?
Sure.
You're like, you know what? Let's fuck this up. Let's go serve and volley. Let's go I formation. We're going to split the right and left because it's a righty-lefty combo that we're playing against. So it's pretty interesting. Really good team. I'll give them credit. They actually won the NCAAs in 2000. We beat them in straight sets.
There you go.
And how do we do it?
Strategy, though, right?
Strategy, exactly. Tennis is all about strategy. So if you take some of these better players and play a game that they're not used to, instead of just sitting there on the baseline trying to hit through them or whatever your coach is telling you to do these days, you'll go wild. I keep telling my daughter, she's only 8, she hasn't played a full-fledged match yet, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to teach you to serve and volley. You know why? Because you're going to beat 90% of the girls out there because they're not going to know what the hell you're doing.
Nope. They're too busy looking to get a ground stroke and get the ball back. They don't even expect you to be at the net most of the time.
And that's the thing. Even these top players, golf, for instance. So this is what kind of pisses me off about Coco Gauff. She grew up being a really good doubles player. Her and Pagula won a couple of Grand Slams.
Yes, they have. Yes,
and they did it playing volleying well. You look at their game now on a singles court, they don't come in and volley. And I'm like, who took that away from them? They would have been the kings of the court. What do you think made Serena and Venus so epically good? They cut off the ball. Serena would come in the net, stop the Monica Seles of the world, stop whoever else came in her way. She cut off the court.
Yep, you're not angling shots deep into the corner. You're not doing that because I'm already at the net. You put anything above my waist, I'm putting it away.
Exactly. So no, that's right. Even the Sabalenka, for instance, 6 foot. Please volley. It's a no-brainer to me. Please volley. You'll beat half the women out there in shorter time without having to grunt your way through a match. No offense.
And boy, she grunts her butt off, and it's really highlighted when you play somebody who doesn't grunt at all. It's like, really? Is it do you have to do it that loud?
For a number of years when I watched the Open in person in New York and you'd see Maria Sharapova on Ash Stadium and that thing would echo outside the court 18. And I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, this is worse. Seriously.
I get the idea, and maybe it gives you more power, maybe you're able to focus your chi and all of that and get your breathing, but it doesn't have to be that loud.
I don't buy it. I just don't buy the science of that. Okay, you can use your grunting ability to time, but do you need to grunt so that you can hear it 4 miles down the road? Because I feel that expels more energy out of your lungs to hit a ball trying to grunt that loud. It doesn't make sense to me.
Sabalenka about to get mad again. She just lost. She just got broken on serve. And as she hit the second ball out, she's picked the ball up and spiked it into the ground with her tennis racket.
Now it's gonna be interesting to see how she withers the storm here, because I like this German player. She's got a solid game. She's playing to the strength of, or the weakness of Sabalenka, which is going to be good to see. It's going to be interesting to see how it fares out. That said, quick recap on the men's draw and what's going on. So we mentioned Sinner Selton is tomorrow morning. Djokovic plays Kaboli tomorrow, and I like Djokovic. He's playing really well right now. He's in the same he's in the same quarter as Sinner, so he's setting up a semifinal match there. I would love to see Shelton Djokovic instead in the semis. I'd love to see Djokovic pull off 25 at Wimbledon. That's just my take this year.
I used to like him. I don't like him anymore. Ever since the whole COVID nonsense, I don't like him. I don't want him to win anything.
To me, Roger Federer will still be one of the greatest in my mind, if not Nadal. However,
classy. Both of those were classy dudes.
Yeah, classy dudes. I would love to see Djokovic just get the 25 just to have it and then walk away from the game on a high note just to have it and say that I've seen that. That would be cool to see. Taylor Fritz still battling. He made a run last year over to the finals. He's playing well. He's been having some good wins. He plays Khachanov, which I think is going to be an interesting matchup because Khachanov can punish the ball. And that's what makes it really.
He was up 2 sets, but he was losing the third set 4-0.
Yes.
So
and no, he lost the fourth. He lost the third 6-1. They're in the fourth set now. Yep.
Okay.
So he's up. Yeah. So 2 sets to 1 Fritz on that one right now.
Plus, didn't he get hurt? Who was the American that got hurt? And played the match. I think he ended up winning.
Was that Tommy Paul?
It wasn't. Okay. But he's out now, right?
He's out. The bottom half is Alcaraz and Nori, which I think will be cool because of Britain versus Spain.
Yep. But the crowd's going to be cheering for Alcaraz because they like him.
Yeah, they like him. I mean, the guy's been pure class. It has been interesting seeing Edmund Raducanu in his corner. So no, I would like to see a Fritz Alcaraz semifinal. I think it'd be fun. I think Alcaraz will win it though. Is there even a remote chance of an All-American final? No, I don't think so. I don't think Shelton and Fritz can make it through.
I'm sorry, I just don't see it either. American tennis has gotten a shot in the arm because for a while it just disappeared.
Yeah. You got 3 guys that are holding the crown up, but they can't carry the crown. That's the problem.
But they're not winners. Holding the crown up, to me, you got to be a winner. You need to win some tournaments, like actually win tournaments.
Right. No, I agree. And that's where I said we have pretenders to the throne. We don't have any contenders. The old era of American tennis, I think, is lost right now because of the way we develop players in this country. But that's just my take. I've seen it at the youth level, for years now. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of how they do it. And I think that's what's causing a lot of American tennis to lag behind the Europeans when it comes to development.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But no, I at this point, pending Sinner and Djokovic, I probably see Sinner Alcaraz, London matchup on Sunday, for strawberries and cream.
I think that's what's going to happen, and I think it's going to be is it Swiatek and Sabalenka?
Swiatek and Sabalenka are on a collision course. I think Swiatek is going to have the edge, provided Sabalenka falls here, obviously, which I think she's already talking to herself.
Yeah, she just hit a ball so pitifully. She looked like me. She hit it to the mid to bottom of the net, and it looked like a second serve. I'm
more curious to tune into the post-game interview for her now to see what she tries to blame this time.
Yeah, just as a note, and we could sign off because I do need to get going.
Oh, watch this point.
Oh, you got it. You're ahead of me?
Maybe. You see a little slide?
40 Love. I'm watching 40 Love right now.
Okay, it was game then. It was a second ago. So watch the finish on it.
See, look at that shot.
Yeah, right?
Ooh, and you know what's funny? She made sure she didn't hit the net because if you hit the net, you lose the point. Yeah,
exactly. She did a little slide.
but you see what I mean? Like there's some petulance, like a childish petulance that resides in Sabalenka that she's going to need to get over because
she can't be that next. Yeah, she can't sustain success at this mental level. Absolutely.
No, because she just gave one of the last 2 returns she had were horrible, and it looked like she didn't care.
Yeah,
and you can't be a champion and show that at any point.
I want to give the German a credit here, but I don't know if she has enough firepower to keep it up. That's the problem. If she can get a break here, I'll give her a chance.
Well, she's going to need a break, obviously. If she goes, that's out. Oh, no, it came back in.
Yeah.
You're watching ahead of me, so it doesn't matter.
Well, but footwork German is not impressing me right now. It's 2-2 in the second set. I wish she played with a little bit more energy and firepower for me to have confidence in her taking down in straight sets.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Madison Keys went down like that to her because she's got power, but she also has an issue in her head too.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. Like even the American players, Pegula, Goff, everybody's got some head case issues, in my opinion. They're not Serena and they're not Venus to me. That's the problem.
No.
Serena had an elite level of mental thinking that I credit Richard Williams by every level. He didn't let those girls think about the last point. That's what made them successful. They always thought ahead and they were playing for every ball.
Yep.
And they were hungry. They were hungry.
That was it. They were hungry. Towards the end, I don't think Serena was hungry enough because that's why she got to all of these finals and choked.
Well, my last memory of her, unfortunately, is that Osaka match where she kind of mentally crumbled. And that's what really is unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. When she started arguing with the ref and all of that, that was a blemish on her record for sure.
Agreed.
She had a couple of incidents like that.
Yes. Let me go to the women's bracket here real quick. So Sabalenka is on the top half. Anna Anisimova, American. She's in the other quarterfinal against Pavlyuchenkova, one of the Russians.
Yeah, a lot of syllables there.
Yep. Mira Andreeva is playing really well. Her and Bencic will be a good quarterfinal on the bottom half, and then of course Swiatek and Samsonova are down there. Swiatek,
so Navarro lost.
Navarro lost, unfortunately. Yeah, that was a sad one. I'd love to see Navarro make a breakthrough, but she's also one of those gals. Like, if you hear in her interview and you see her team and stuff, she's got that California vibe to her. Like, she's laid back. She's not into that killer instinct in her. That's their problem.
Yeah, but she was the last. Well,
she's a bowler.
Well, you got one more American left, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's just so many. It just sucks to see America suck at these international sports. Yeah. They just do. They suck at all of these international sports.
You know what it's gonna take to rekindle some pride in this country is honestly us losing the Olympics. I would love to see that happen just for that reason. Honestly, if we get our ass kicked in track and field by a kid from, I don't know, Uzbekistan, that would be great. And
that would be strange because I'm sorry,
yeah,
like that happened. So,
well, not to sound racist, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, many of these quote unquote war torn countries in Eastern Europe and whatnot should have people that have run for their lives. They could run a little quick on the track. I'm just saying.
Wow. Wow. On that note,
yes.
I'm going to have to run. We are going to have to run. But one thing that we want to be able to say to everybody is be prideful in anything that you do. Be passionate about what you do and give it your all. And if you do those things, you'll be able to achieve higher heights than maybe you even imagine yourself. But you have to have that dedication and desire to really achieve those goals.
And even more than the physical success, it's honestly the mental happiness you'll get out of it. Honestly, that's the real key. I mean, if you really push yourself, you can figure out the tests of what your body's capable of, what you're mentally capable of. You just for yourself, if anything else.
Yep.
So definitely.
On that note, we wish you all the best of health.
Yep.
We wish you prosperity and we wish you peace and joy in your lives.
Absolutely. Enjoy the weekend of Wimbledon and then obviously baseball with its all-star game and home run derby next week. Maybe we'll pick it up back then and we'll talk a little bit of baseball finally, now that we're halfway through this monumental season.
All right, guys. We wish you peace.
Yep. See you guys.
All right. Be well.